Dave, it's been a week battling the weather conditions as much as anything else. How have preparations gone so far?
It wasn't earlier in the week. It was okay. The forecast was mixed, and there's always different issues when the cold snap comes, and it's at this time of the year. So grass at the start of the week, which is good because before it's just the frost covers and things up here. But then yesterday on the 3G, 4G, and similarly today, because of how cold it's been. So you have to deal with that. We're lucky that we spend 99% of our training sessions on grass as a League Two team. So the little bit of a change around in terms of playing on a different surface is, I suppose, the least we can expect playing League Two football in England.
Just the inevitable question at the minute with the injuries you've had. Has everyone come through the last week unscathed? No new injuries to report off?
No new injuries, which is potentially a first. We get to this time of the season now, we have a couple of games that'll be rearranged, but I think we've got 3 Tuesdays between now and the end of the season, so pretty much Saturday to Saturday. So I suppose what you don't get is that accumulation of minutes and any little niggles you get a week to try and get over them. So the load management of players becomes easier at this part of the season. Hopefully it becomes even more easy for us in the fact that we have players coming back, hopefully week after week, and more players to pick from.
And Macca and Miles have sort of been front of the queue in terms of players close to a return. Could either of them be involved this weekend?
Could be. I suggest they'll both be involved in some capacity, providing everything's gone okay from yesterday and similarly today. And we obviously need to get them back up to speed. A little bit of a different scenario with Macca and Miles. Macca's not been out for that long when you compare it to how long Miles has been out in terms of his last competitive game. Take pre-season out of it, where he obviously was involved a little bit. It was probably 8 months ago, so he's been out for an extended period. We're going to make sure he's right and build up his load and build up his minutes. But great to have him back involved in the group.
You spoke last week about hoping to have 2 players in the door this week. You've got that now with Rico and Reece. What can you tell us about those 2 signings?
So as I said previously, worked really, really hard over not just the last few weeks, the last few months, in looking at what we need and where we can strengthen. I think from our perspective, where we were at the start of the season, minus Woods, we had to change the way we went about things a little bit, and we looked to evolve from where we were last year. We did that, and just as Woods is back, Louis goes out. So then that changed the dynamic of our team and the personnel we had. So we knew that with Louis' injury and when he was back, we like to try and bring in that type of player, so a ball carrier or a transitional type player. And Rico ticks that box. Left-footed, likes to play on the right-hand side though, and is a good ball carrier. And we think he'll have a real impact in our team based on what we've seen and the references we've had from him. Benno's someone who is known to us because he was in with us last year for a month, 6 weeks from Man United. Just training as almost like a work experience with an arrangement we had with them. So nobody's like us, and he knows us, which is important. Brilliant personality, great character for a young player, ahead of his years in terms of maturity, and has really kicked on from when he came in with us. So when the opportunity came around to bring him in and have someone in that knows us and know how we work, it becomes a no-brainer.
It's a compliment really, I suppose, to you, to Simon, and to the environment being built here, that these Premier League clubs, in particular Aston Villa at the minute, are trusting you and trusting this place as the right place for these top young talents to develop.
Yeah, of course it is. The more relationships we can have with top teams and potentially get players from them that assist both clubs, obviously the better, and hopefully that'll continue over a long period of time.
Is there still more work you'd like to do in the transfer window, or are you happy with what you've got?
No, there is, and I don't. Again, I was asked a question earlier that says, "Are you happy with your business, or with the window shut now? Would you be happy?" Yeah, I'd be happy, but then do you want to do more? Yeah, I want to do more, because there's probably areas of the pitch where we potentially don't have players coming back, and we probably need to safeguard those positions as best as we can to see us through till April, May. But that doesn't say that we are desperate to do things. These are ones that are going to improve us and going to add to the squad. So I think without sort of giving too much away, would there be a possibility of another couple coming in? Potentially. The thing with that will be how quickly, because if we're looking at doing some business in an area that we might have been a little bit short, so again we looked at different profiles of midfield players, the closer we get to the end of the window, the closer the return of Sauce and Will comes into that, and Miles. So that may then change the dynamic of what it looks like. We have to be a little bit pessimistic, and almost as much as we want to expect and hope the players will come back absolutely flying and hit the ground running and they'll have no setbacks, that they may come, and we've got to be able to be reactive in that circumstance.
One player that does seem to have really benefited from a consistent run in the team is Campsey at the minute. Another really good performance last weekend. Do you feel like we're starting to see the best from him in the middle of the park now?
There are, I suppose, shoots of bits that you see of what Campsey is. I think there's a load more to come. And he, again, potentially will admit himself from where he has been and where he was, and over the last, not so much 12 months, but previous to that, there's a lot more, in my opinion, to come from him. But injuries haven't helped with him. The issue that, again, Campsey has, because of the problem he's had, especially with his shoulders, is every time he is on the floor, you panic. And that's not a great position to be in, because that consistency of games and a run of games is obviously going to help any player. He's not had that, but he's in a decent run at the moment, and long may that continue.
Notts County are obviously under new management as of last night. Stuart's coming off the back of 3 really good years at Wealdstone. What was your reaction to that appointment?
Yeah, listen, congratulations to him. Great job for him to come out of, in terms of the work he's done at Wealdstone. And I suppose for every National League manager, just as I'll look at, from our perspective, Luke going from a League 2 club to a Championship club and being really pleased for him. But again, also looking at it and going, young British manager getting a Championship job is real reward for him, but also motivation for anyone else, again, that has ambitions of going and managing at that high, and be given the opportunity to do that. So exactly the same for Stuart, to come from the National League at a part-time, potentially in Wealdstone, unfashionable club, and be given the opportunity to go and work at a club the size of Notts County is brilliant for him. Like I say, I'm sure he'll want to stamp his mark on the team without making drastic changes. And a really good opportunity for him. And obviously, outside of what happens tomorrow, we'll wish him all the best. I'm sure they'll do a good job.
They are, as a side, pretty unique at this level in terms of how they go about things. I'm sure that won't change in the short term under Stuart. And I think in the game at Edgeley Park, you spoke about how you had to change your approach, particularly in that second half, to manage the game better. Do you expect a similar pattern of game tomorrow? Does it suit you more being the away team, maybe?
I don't expect any pattern of game, to be honest. We go into it blue sky thinking in terms of what the game may look like, but I think you have to be reactive in terms of how you deal with things. The difficulty you'll have against teams like Notts County is that because of how they do it, you'll end up with players in different positions at different parts of the game. You've got to be organised, you've got to communicate, and you've got to deal with the greyness that's involved in the game. They're a really attacking team that score goals and the top scorers in the league, but on the flip side of that, they've conceded a lot of goals. So I expect it will be an open game. If it's close to what the game was at Edgeley, then it'll be a brilliant game, because the standard was fantastic for the level. And 2 huge clubs in the division who are both up at the top end competing to get to League One.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.